Hi, I'm Mike Miller. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks so much for watching the shows that I do. I bring creative people to you to check out. There's a lot of creative people in North Texas, and my guest today is Colton Jones. I appreciate you being here, man.
Thank you.
And so you've been involved with comedy quite a while, I guess.
Yeah, about almost 3 years. It's getting close. Seems closer every day.
Yeah, and you go to a lot of open mics and host some comedic events.
Yeah, I host a show at Midway every Wednesday, and then I do, pretty much open mics all over town. If I'm not at work, I'm at an open mic, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because in Denton, there's a lot of smaller bars.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not going to go to a club in Denton. We don't have one, but you're going to go to 5 sets in one night, and work out all of your jokes, especially on like a weekend, like Sunday always, there's a billion chances to perform, it feels like. So that's really nice. It's kind of what I like about this town.
Yeah, and convenient comedy, that's the concept you have going there at Midway.
Yeah, we run it before the open mic. We bring up some of the newer comics in the area. So like we'll do people who maybe haven't been doing it for a year yet, or people who just moved into town. We'll normally bring them on as soon as they get here. And it's just kind of a chance for some of the other comics and me and some of the regulars in the scene to know that there's this showcase they can go to every 2 weeks where they're going to see some people that they should be really excited about seeing at different showcases around town. And we always take the time there to, try to plug other shows and tell people where to go to check out some more comedy around here.
What do you look for in comedy? People that, I guess, you give anybody a chance, but...
Well, I always think, really anybody can be funny. Like, like even my grandpa's pretty funny, but he would just go online and, find jokes sometimes, like, but you can't do that when you want to have a unique perspective. And people, I think the most important thing for me personally when I'm writing, what I'm trying to do and what I really appreciate about other people is when they try to find what it is about what they're talking about that the audience is going to want to connect to and follow along with, if that makes sense. So it's like, yeah, you can go up there and talk about chips, but if you're not talking about something inside of eating potato chips that other people are going to connect to and like feedback with, then nobody cares. Like, it's funny, but nobody cares. I think Patton Oswalt said that.
And so, what was that video where you were eating something and listening to animal sounds at 45 RPMs?
Oh yeah, so it was pet sounds.
Pet sounds.
Not just like a giraffe braying in the woods. No, and I ate, I think 2 pounds of the candy Swedish fish.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, I had been talking about, at the time, I'd been going out and talking a lot about eating Swedish fish, and people were kind of like, that's not really a popular candy, I suppose, by candy standards. So I just wanted to prove how much I loved Swedish fish, so I just went live on Facebook. It wasn't really like a planned bit or anything. I just had my little sister, she bought me a 2-pound bag of Swedish fish, and Pet Sounds is objectively like one of the best albums ever made, right? So I just thought it'd be funny to listen to that at 45 RPMs while you watched me not try to vomit as I go through 2 pounds of candy. It hurt. I was sick for a couple of days afterwards.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't do well with sugar anyway, so it's like, wow.
But you do like the Beach Boys, and you think that's a pretty good album.
I do like the Beach Boys. I think the Beach Boys are kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that they're a legendary band, and then they made like their 14th record, and it's just perfect. It's like, perfect. But like Good Vibrations is like a good pop song.
Yeah.
But I think if they hadn't made Pet Sounds, they'd kind of be remembered as like a one-hit wonder band, or like a kind of like a funny band. I don't know, like Flock of Seagulls or something like that. It was just around for a couple of years. But because they made Pet Sounds, which again I just think is like perfect.
And I don't know if I've ever listened to that. Is it really?
It's so. I think one phrase I often hear connected with it online is that Brian Wilson was the first kind of musician to realize that the studio itself was an instrument that you could use sonically when you're like creating a musical atmosphere.
Really?
Like, he has dogs barking in one song, and he like brought dogs into the studio they were recording in and played with them for like hours and just recorded everything that happened because he wanted it to sound like the same acoustically as the rest of the music. He didn't want it to sound like cut in.
Well, I heard that Paul McCartney really was impressed with that album.
Well, it's kind of funny because, and I only know this because I saw this movie with Paul Dano and John Cusack, And it's funny because Paul Dano plays Brian Wilson when he's younger, and then John Cusack plays Brian Wilson when he's older.
Really?
Paul Dano, amazing performance. It's great. John Cusack, he's not there for that movie. He didn't show up on set like prepared or something, but it's just funny because it's like it's supposed to be the same person, but the actors playing them are like so clearly committed at different levels. It's just funny. Anyway, Brian Wilson, when he heard Revolver by the Beatles, he said, "That's the best album I've ever heard, and I'm going to go make an album better than that." And then he made Pet Sounds, and then Paul McCartney heard Pet Sounds, and they went and made Sgt. Pepper's, I think, because he was so impressed with Pet Sounds.
Really?
So they just kind of fed back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
They also socialized together a lot.
Yeah, I heard that they went and stayed at his house
Yeah.
and things like that. Yeah.
Did stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, have you studied theater over the years? Been involved with theater?
That's what when I was in middle school, I played football, and then about my sophomore year of high school, I was skipping football practice to go to theater rehearsal.
Really?
So my coach made me quit, and then basically ever since then I've been an actor. I haven't acted too much over the past 2 years because I've been doing so much stand-up, and I've really I mean I listened to stand-up when I was younger, but I didn't think I would be good at it. I didn't think that I was a good writer.
Really?
And I still don't really think I'm a good writer, but which is maybe my own personal thing, but like studying acting growing up, I just really enjoyed performing, and I've always been pretty good at it. I've always been successful when I try to do stuff like this. So yeah, pretty much since the 7th grade onward, I've just been getting more and more committed to this being the thing I do. I went to college in town. I didn't go to UNT, I went to TWU, which I think our mascot is the Pioneers, right?
I think.
Yeah, they have a cool statue on that campus, though. That's a beautiful campus.
Yeah.
Very small. But I studied there, had some good professors that, were cool, and I studied improv. That was one of the things I got really into.
Oh, they offer improv over there?
Well, they had an improv class that they did once every 2 years, but I asked my instructor, Patrick Banyan, if I could just kind of do a workshop. We had a grad student come through, and she wanted to do one, and she started it, and she built all these workshops, and she kind of showed us games to play, and she showed us a lot of Viola Spolin's work. Viola Spolin kind of originated the American improv format.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I still, her book is my Bible. It's amazing.
That's good.
But she started, the traditional American improv, or whatever you would call it, in Chicago in the 20s. And she released this book that just kind of detailed what she would do in her workshops, and actually talks about what people were doing, how they were acting in the exercises. And that's always been pretty much the basis for my stand-up as well. I try to treat the audience like another performer in an improv sketch with me. Like I'm working with them organically.
To engage with them more.
Yeah, even though they're not talking. It's like I still have to read what they're laughing at, what is making them uncomfortable maybe, and play on that. That's just as important as whatever I want to do, maybe.
And some of the comedians I've heard, they do deal with subjects that can make people uncomfortable.
Oh, definitely. I've seen people get cut off. I've cut off people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go too far.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that you understand it, and everything when you're growing up and you love stand-up comics, especially how stand-up comedy was on TV when comics like Bill Hicks, Richard Pryor, those people were constantly pushing over the line. They were constantly saying things today that you probably wouldn't say. But I would argue that maybe today it's not as relevant to be kind of derogatory for dirtiness' sake. I think there's I don't know. The other thing is if you go to a venue that wants you to be like that, you can be like that and it's great.
Yeah.
But if you have a venue telling you not to do it, it's well, you're kind of in their space a little bit. And it's
yeah.
it'd be one thing if the cops were telling you not to do dirty jokes, but if a venue owner is telling you not to do dirty jokes, or the audience at a place is always mad at you for doing the same offensive jokes, it's maybe you should read the crowd a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my opinion on it.
Well, like Lenny Bruce, were you influenced by him?
I've never seen any tape of Lenny. I've heard of Lenny Bruce.
Yeah.
I've read about Lenny Bruce.
Yeah.
I've heard how great he is and how important he is. Never seen any tape whatsoever of Lenny Bruce.
It seemed like he had just gotten going and then he died,
Yeah.
That he had just made it to the national level.
Yeah. Didn't Dustin Hoffman do a movie about him?
He might have.
Yeah.
I can imagine, yeah.
I bet that's good too. I've never seen the movie. I've heard it's good. I've heard it's great.
A lot of actors do stand-up too, I guess. Sometimes.
It seems like it. Sometimes I have an actor I really like. I think he's really funny, and then he decides to do stand-up, and I'm like, oh, this isn't as funny as I want it to be.
It's a different ball game from being an actor.
Yeah, it is, because it's all you,
Yeah.
I always felt that way when I would act. I would always feel like, even if I did if I did a really bad job, I'd be like, well, this script sucks, you know, whatever. But if I did a really good job, even then I'd be like, well, you know, the script's pretty good. Like, you know, you know, it's not all me. That's one thing that's super satisfying about stand-up. It's like everything you're doing is explicitly your idea, your impetus. You know what I'm saying?
That's good. Yeah, that's fulfilling to do that. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like you do cover songs as a musician. Yeah.
No,
you have to. Everything is an original song, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were involved with that at Andy's about the 4-alarm.
Yeah, I was involved in that.
Benefit to help.
Yeah. When we did Convenient that week, we also donated to the same fundraiser. Although I have to be completely honest, we raised the least amount of money at Convenient out of all the shows. Everybody else did a really great job, and I just did my show. But
well, you tried. The effort was there.
Yeah. I threw it out there, right?
Yeah.
But the show at Andy's was really successful. They had magicians go on before us, and that was cool. Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny at Andy's, the walk around to the stage is so long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the magicians, and they were all really talented magicians, I want to say that explicitly, but they would call people up on stage, and then you were just kind of sitting there for like 5 minutes while like an audience member like put down her purse and took off her cardigan and then like walked all the way up to the front of the stage and then had to go around the back and go, and then he's like finally up there and he's just still holding like a deck of cards. And he's like, pick one, you know, after all this time. It's kind of underwhelming maybe, but I thought the magicians were all talented. I just think they should maybe have chosen a more intimate space for magic, but I could be totally wrong. And I apologize if I've offended any magicians. Please don't put a curse on me.
I didn't realize we had so many magicians around town though until about a year ago, and then a lot of people were involved with that, it seems like.
It's like they just appeared, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Richie was I think Richie was the OG on that.
Really?
Yeah. He was a rapper for a long time. He's a great rapper. I love his stuff, but he's a great performer, really. But his magic, he started doing it just like, I remember just hanging out with him before he was like performing, I guess. Maybe he was and I just didn't know about it, but he would just pull out like a straw and do like a magic trick when you're trying to like talk to him, which is funny because if it's so impulsive for him, maybe that's why he's so good at it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Richie Flo.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah.
He's a very funny guy.
Who are some of your other favorite comedians around here now?
Well, my favorite comedians, obviously Luke Moore is one of my favorites.
Luke Moore, yeah.
Luke Moore. DDT, before she just moved out of town actually, but I've often said that she's one of my favorite writers.
Really?
Yeah. She's very shocking, but it's not coming from that same perspective of like, you know, being offensive for offensiveness' sake. She's just saying controversial things because that's who she is and those are the viewpoints she has. It's very earnest when DD's on stage, and I think that kind of makes it fit better. Who else? I like Taylor and Brad McKenzie. Taylor Higginbotham and Brad McKenzie, the Brave Boys. I think what they've got going on at Dan's right now is really funny.
Now what is that? Is some kind of webcam thing?
It's a live podcast.
Podcast.
So what they do is they'll come out and they roast each other for like the first 5 minutes and they talk about their show. And then they bring out their guest, and they're like really cute about it or whatever, but then they bring out their guest, and their guest will do 20 minutes, and then they do about 30 minutes to sometimes longer, depending on when the show started.
Yeah.
And they just kind of go into the night a little bit and talk about random stuff. They always have a topic. It's pretty funny, and they always have people there. I know I work pretty close to Dan's, and a lot of my coworkers love the Brave Boys. They go every week. So that's a good sign, and that's great for the scene.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what it's called, the Brave Boys? The
Brave Boys. I think it's 2 Brave Boys, but they have a 3rd Brave Boy now who sits in front of a piano and doesn't play it. That's a good bit.
Yeah.
He's like supposed to be the music guy, but he doesn't know how to play piano. It always gets a laugh. It's really good. His name's Robbie Shear. Yeah, was 2 Brave Boys. Now sometimes they say the Brave Boys, but I still call it 2 Brave Boys because I'm an originalist.
So you work close to Dan's?
I do. I work. I don't want to say where I work.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't either. I hate to.
I like my job.
I have to do a lot of projects, but
yeah, I just don't want them. I don't want anybody to go on my Facebook and then go like, "This guy works at this restaurant," because I don't think that they'd like my image being too much attached to there.
Yeah.
It's like I'm pretty rambunctious sometimes, I would say.
Do you have some kind of your own business too, also?
I mean, I pretty much just do stand-up.
Stand-up, yeah.
I mean, I really, you know, I have a small business where I sit in my house until about 4 p.m. every day. That's a small business. It's called Wasting My Time.
Dreaming and planning and writing and things like that.
Playing,
brainstorming.
Writing a good song on guitar all morning and then forgetting to record it anyway. And by the time I get home, I don't remember what chords I was playing, so it doesn't matter. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Did you like the Marx Brothers?
The Marx.
Groucho Marx. And
Groucho. I liked. My dad was a big fan.
Really? Yeah. Yeah.
And I vividly remember him trying to get me to watch black and white tapes of them. And I just was like a young kid, and I think I decided at an early age that I wasn't going to like it, and I haven't tried to. Is it good? Should I watch it?
Yeah, they're pretty good, and something you said about playing a piano reminded me of them. I think a couple of them, there were 3 or 4 brothers, and they were musicians and pantomime artists, and then Groucho had the TV show. But
yeah, I've always liked stuff like Andy Kaufman, kind of off the wall stuff. I've kind of had a late discovery of Norm Macdonald lately. He's so absurd sometimes. It's so funny. And I don't know. I like weird stuff, kind of. You know, I would say that the older stuff. I do like the Three Stooges.
The Three Stooges.
See, I have a soft spot for things that I don't think are that original, but are so unabashedly like genre loving. You know, like South Pacific, the musical. The reason I love that musical, or Grease, the musical.
Yeah.
The reason I love Grease is because everything about that is so stereotypically what would be in like a movie musical. It's funny, it's earnest in a way, but it's like, this is the most musical you're gonna see. I love that. I love that. But
I really enjoyed it when I saw it years ago.
Yeah. It's just
and all the dancing.
Yeah. So I don't know about the Marx Brothers. I don't know really. They're like physical, right? They're very physical. I feel like I was in a movement class in college, and I had a professor that made us watch like a day of Marx Brothers
Really?
videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was
related to movement.
Just and like how to play a bit. It's like, you know, every movement stops and starts. There's no fluid movement in comedy because it's not as funny.
That sounds like them for sure.
Yeah.
But I read that he didn't like Bill Cosby.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know that a lot of people like Bill Cosby anymore, you know?
Yeah, he's lost his reputation for sure.
A bit, yeah.
Did you watch some of those shows though back years ago?
Oh, the
like he was kind of a philosopher or something, it seemed to me. I don't know.
Bill Cosby?
Yeah.
No.
Philosophical, right?
I never liked The Cosby Show.
Really?
People would always make jokes about The Cosby Show, and I just thought I never got it.
I didn't either, yeah.
I'm not a big TV watcher. I'll pick a show about once every 2 years, and I'll be like, this is my show. I'll rewatch it like 3 times, but I pretty much don't really expose myself to that much television.
I don't either.
It's hard to watch it sometimes, especially advertisements drive me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they do ads on this show, but if they do, they should do an ad right there.
Really?
That's so funny. Sorry.
Duck Dynasty, what was your impression of that?
Oh, I hate that show.
Really?
Yeah. My family loves it.
Really?
Yeah, my whole family they're kind of the opposite of me on some stuff like that.
How do they feel about you being a comedian?
Well, you know, I realized a couple days ago that one of my uncles unfriended me on Facebook. And I guess I had posted too much stuff that he didn't like. But we were friends for a long time, and I think he's funny. He always posts like little witticisms or whatever,
really?
And I always like him. I've shared a couple of them. I thought they were funny. Maybe that's why he doesn't, because I didn't ask him if I could share his status. But I think he's like a really funny guy, but he unadded me on Facebook. I must have said something that made him angry.
Yeah.
I'm pretty foul sometimes. I was raised in a Catholic family.
Really?
Yeah, and so it was something that, you know, we would talk about, you know, being close to God, and we would, you know, talk about going to church. We would go to church, and my grandmother has a very clean sense of humor. She really doesn't like anything that's too dirty. I thought, until I got older, and then I started doing dirty jokes, and she's always the first one to laugh if I do them around. You know, I'll talk about different stuff, but yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed your comedy every time I see you, and
well, thanks, man.
I think you've really got a lot of talent. I appreciate you coming down today.
Thank you. That's really nice.
And
thanks for having me. This is
welcome.
fun.
What do you? Anything in particular you want to accomplish over the next few months? Or
Well,
year?
I know that me and Nick Fields are about to start our own podcast.
Cool.
And that's going to be a bit of a political bent. We're going to be doing characters. We'll be interviewing each other in characters about our thoughts and opinions about politics. And then hoping to get my own project started pretty soon, talking about climate change. I think my angle is just going to be that I don't know anything about it, but I'm super terrified that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or it is happening. I'm terrified of it. So I'm just going to go find professors and scientists and just make them explain it to me, because I don't really understand what's happening. And then, like I said, I do convenient comedy every Wednesday. I can't imagine that's going to end anytime soon.
That's a Midway Craft.
Yes. And I think
That's really turned out to be a good venue. What they won,
best alternative venue. Yeah. And I think, some of the reason that, people maybe, they're an alternative venue is some of the reason I think they've been so successful. There are a lot of noise bands in this town, and not every venue wants to put a noise band on stage. But if you want to do a whole night of noise music, you can go to Midway Craft House, and they'll let you put it up, and they'll give you beer. They'll be great about it. They'll have fun. And their customers are coming in trying to buy stuff. And I feel like most of the people that shop there just know that that's what's going to be happening when they walk in. There's going to be some comedian talking about, his love life, or, some noise musician, kicking over an amp while they play it. And I've seen videos online where people are at the store, and they'll go on Reddit and they'll be like, saw this band, look at this, and it's some dude not really even playing a guitar, just kind of sawing at it a little bit and kicking his amp over and stuff. And people are like, this isn't music, and I'm like, yeah, but these guys want to do this, and Midway lets them do it. That's why Midway is so successful, because they're so open to artists doing whatever the heck they want.
The Denton Arts and Music Awards.
Yeah.
You were involved with that?
I was nominated.
That's cool.
And I went on stage. I did a bit. The host wanted to award a Perseverance Award, and he gave it to the monument that's on the square, and I accepted the monument in character as a guy.
That's great.
It was pretty. I was worried people were going to be mad at me, because it's a pretty dicey bit, but they didn't get mad at me. They thought it was kind of funny. So
there was a big crowd there that night.
Sure seemed like it. I had an after party at my house, and there weren't as many people there. I got to tell you, I thought there were going to be more people there. There were no people there, but there were some people there. Actually, I had a pretty good time. I don't know. Sometimes when we do parties at my house, we set up a PA in the living room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Richie Flo was there, and I just had Richie.
Okay.
I made Richie and Mikey from Kind Beats. They just rapped in my living room for an hour at my party. That was pretty fun. But definitely, the 200 people that were at the damn awards, that saw me not get the award I was nominated for, they could have come to my party. That would have made me feel a lot better.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a lot of pressure on everybody. You get nominated, and then if you don't win.
Yeah, I know, but you can come. I got a fire going. We'll sit. We'll cry. I'll cry with anyone. If anybody ever wants to cry, just hit me up. I'll cry with you. I'll hold anybody while they cry. Especially if I also want to cry about not getting an award, then I will definitely cry with you.
It's an emotional thing for sure.
To cry.
Yeah, or to not get an award, not win something, or not get nominated. Yeah, a lot of people are crying, I guess, before the.
You ever been nominated for an award?
Not there with that.
What about a different award?
Well, I won writing awards when I was in college. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I got, when I was in high school, I was in a play, and we advanced 2 rounds, and I won Best Actor. This is a dumb story, but I was thinking about it this morning. So I would win Best Actor, and then we would advance. And then the last show that we did, it was right before we went to state for this competition, this one act play competition,
oh, yeah.
the UIL or whatever. We didn't advance. Only one other person in the show won an acting award, and I still won Best Actor. So as we're driving back from Abilene, I think, in the bus, everybody is sad because we did not advance, and me and my friend were in the back. Super excited. That says a lot about me as a person, probably. Kind of.
That is interesting. I appreciate it.
No problem.
But thank you so much for coming down, and you guys stay tuned to check out Colton Jones doing a little bit of stand-up. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.
Thank you, Denton, Texas. Thank you so much, everybody, all 100 of you. Really, thank you. That's so nice.
I met the love of my life the other day. She wasn't interested. We'll see how it goes. You know, every year on Thanksgiving, the American president pardons one turkey for his crimes against the Armenian people. Okay. You know, I got in a Lyft the other day, and I had 2 drivers. I know what you're thinking. What? I know. Let me explain. I get in and I walk out of my house. It was the first thing I had done that day was get in this Lyft. I didn't take a shower. I know that's gross. Whatever. Moving on. I walk outside of my house. There's a big white truck in the front of my yard. I walk up to the truck. Normally I get in the back seat because I don't like to talk to people. So I sit behind the driver so he can't really make eye contact with me and force a conversation. That didn't happen today. As I'm walking up to the truck, the passenger side of the truck opens up. Now it's one of these extended cab trucks, which means that the doors are kind of laid over like French doors. You have one door, then you have another door. Door, right? So his wife gets out of the passenger seat and then opens up the back door of the car. I get into the truck. She closes the back door. Then she gets into the front door, closes the door, and then says hello. So then what happens, and this is really just so infuriating, is that she continues to, for the entire ride, hold up a phone with GPS on it in the middle of the windshield the entire way. So let me just explain that this household does not have a medium income that can buy a stand for a phone in the middle of a dashboard. So they just both drive Lyft all the time because it's the only way that they're capable of doing it. All of this would have been really fine if not before a minute we got to my destination, the driver turned around and asked me for directions. Why is she here? What's happening now? She doesn't get out. You don't need to be in the car. This is all, I didn't write any of this. This is all from the newspaper, by the way. You know, I've been thinking a lot lately about these flat earthers, the people who believe in flat earth theory. Yeah, people have a right to believe whatever they want. So I just think that we should give these people their space. And, you know, Elon Musk, he says that in 30 years, we're going to have commercialized space travel. That's awesome, you know, so we can just wait these people out, right? And then once we have commercialized space travel, right, we take all the flat earthers, Kyrie Irving, other people I'm sure, and we put them all on a spaceship. We send it up towards outer space, right? And then when it's just far enough away, just outside of the Earth's atmosphere, right, we open up the window, throw them into the sun. Can you imagine how hard it would be to find out if someone actually believed in life after love? I was at the store the other day, and I was buying a Coca-Cola product. I love Coca-Cola. They're a great company. Maybe. Depends how you feel. They have been doing this promotion in the past couple years where they're putting people's names on the sodas. You know, it says, share this Coke with Colton, share this Coke with Michael, Steven, whatever. And, and I always think, you know, that's so cute. Well, the other day I'm at the store, and I buy a Coca-Cola product, and I'm walking out, and as I'm walking away from the cashier, I look down at it and realize it has my dog's name on it. Isn't that adorable? I took it home and was like, Sprite, look. I was reading recently about the Atlanta Zoo. They have basically a panda trafficking system set up with the Beijing Zoo. I don't know if you guys are aware of what's going on here, but basically we're like trading pandas across the sea back and forth. And the reason is so that they can breed where it's warm and then come back to Atlanta where it's like a little bit, I don't know what the system is, where they're supposed to breed at, but I know that when they're young, they live in Beijing, they come here when they're older, and then we send them back when they get really old. And one of the things that happens here, and there's a lot of things that happens here when you're mailing pandas, I'm sure, but one of the things that does happen is that the pandas, they grow up in Beijing till about the age of 3, and then they come over to Atlanta, and they don't understand what the trainers are saying to them because they speak Chinese. They don't speak English. But then they live here for a couple of years, and they learn English, which means that there are pandas in this world that know more languages than I do. I only know one language. I'm an idiot. That panda, that's a smart panda. There was like a mess up and a panda got sent to France or something. That panda would then know, there would be a trilingual panda. I would still have a successful career in talking, knowing only one language. So maybe, you know, next time you feel bad about yourself, just think like
least you, I mean, yeah, just keep feeling bad. Because you're dumber than a panda. Pandas are dumb. They're too dumb to procreate. That's the real thing. I don't know why I'm checking this side of the room. I'm just kind of operating in free space here. One of my favorite TV shows of all time is I Love Lucy. I love that show. It's a great show. Lucy and Ricky have a lovely marriage, I would say. One thing I've always been confused about, though, is that in their bedroom, they have 2 twin-size mattresses. Why? Why? And then the other thing is that when Lucy and Ricky spend time together as a man and woman, they have to push their beds together. Why? I've been there. You don't need that much room, really. Also, if you push 2 beds together, there's a hole in the middle of the bed. You know what happens to that hole? It widens. I have to move on. You know, I was talking to my grandma the other day, and she asked me, when you go on stage and you do jokes, do you write your own jokes? Where do you get your jokes from? I said, Grandma, yeah, I write my own jokes. She goes, so you don't go on the internet to like one of those little joke websites and get like a bunch of jokes? You don't print them out and bring them up on stage with you and tell them? No, Grandma, that would be a theft. Like, that would be stealing. I cannot do that. She's like, really? Because I have this website. They have the funniest jokes. I'm going to send it to you. You can use some of the jokes. Like, no, Grandma, I have to write my own jokes. She said, okay, well, tell me a joke. I said, do you like I Love Lucy? I guess I'm going to end with this. I love you, but you don't like Will.i.am. That's my impression of the Three Doors Down singing about their girlfriend who doesn't like the Black Eyed Peas as much as they enjoy the Black Eyed Peas. Thank you so much. I'm Colton Jones.